President Buhari approves Pencom's proposal for payment of outstanding pension liabilities under the contributory pension scheme. House of Representatives passes supplementary budget at second reading. Investors lose 1.2 trillion naira on equities market. Naira depreciates by 8% in half-year 2021 as OPEC foresees an undersupplied oil market this year. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I'm Leokatun Baba Tunde. And this is the first edition of the second half of the year, and I would like to inform you that in keeping to its commitment of ensuring accelerated passage of the 2021 supplementary budget, the House of Representatives has passed it for second reading. This is coming 24 hours after the presidential request was read at plenary.
Much to spend on the health and the well-being of our people. Mr. Speaker, security is also one area that we are being concerned with.
Any opposition to the supplementary bill? Anybody wants to speak against it? We'll put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Recall that the Senate just last week passed the supplementary budget for second reading. 722.3 billion naira is earmarked as contribution for the Development Fund for capital expenditure, while 173.4 billion naira is as recurrent non-debt expenditure. Another bill passed by the House of Representatives was the bill seeking more power and responsibilities to local government councils, while an appeal to reopen land borders was opposed by the House members. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved Pencom's submission on the payment of some critical aspects of the outstanding pension liabilities of the federal government under the contributory pension scheme. The National Pensions Commission, Pencom, in a statement said specifically the president approved payments of outstanding accrued pension rights for verified and enrolled retirees of Treasury-funded MDAs that retired but are yet to be paid their retirement benefits, as well as the backlog of death benefits claims due to beneficiaries of deceased employees of Treasury-funded MDAs. Also approved is payment of 2.5 differential in the rate of employer pension contribution for federal government retirees and employees, which resulted from the increase in the minimum pension contributions for employers from 7.5% to 10%. Payments for retirees and existing employees will take effect from July 2014. The statement added that the federal government of Nigeria is expected to continue with the payment of the 10% rate of employer pension contributions for its employees, thus ensuring a remittance of at least 18% monthly as provided by the Pension Act of 2014. The statement stated that already funds have been made available for the settlement of the above-stated pension liabilities. And on the currency market, economists at Credit Suisse predict that the euro and dollar will trend lower and find support at 1.16 level as naira weakens against the dollar across trading windows. Let's see the exchange rate. Nigeria's external reserves fell by $100 million in 3 days from June 26, 2021, as the figures continued to witness historic depletion. According to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the gross reserves fell to approximately $33.4 billion on June 28 against $33.5 billion balance as of June 25, 2021. The liquid from also fell from an excess of $33.3 billion to $33.2 billion within the 3 days, leaving the country with a shortfall of over $100 billion. The external reserve fell to a 14-month as of Monday. The African Union says by 2040, African countries would produce at least 60% of the vaccines they use as opposed to the 1% manufactured on the continent currently. In a communique issued by the Partnerships for African Vaccine Manufacturing Task Force, the Union stated that developing local vaccine manufacturing in Africa would ensure health, security imperatives and bring benefits in terms of improved livelihoods and economies. It noted that though a complex undertaking and notwithstanding risk, the situation presents a unique opportunity for action and unprecedented support from governments across the continent, as well as partnership with institutions across Africa and the globe, as well as the private sector. Now, venture capital has been in the news lately, and perhaps due to the effect of the coronavirus pandemic and increasing waves across the globe, people and institutions are beginning to seek safer and wiser investment points. Peaking at 21%, Nigeria is reported to have attracted the most in 2020, and experts believe 2021 will be a record for the country in terms of venture capital on the continent. Now, what are the sectors attracting these funds, and how will these affect investment climate in the year 2021 that has gone halfway already? Ogbonna Okuku is an investment expert and joins me to look at venture capital through the eyes of startups. You're welcome to Business Express this morning.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's a wet morning.
Yeah, it is.
And how's the weather this morning?
Yes, good. I mean, it's good for when it rains, the farmers are happy. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now, it's been a very turbulent year. 2020 was more difficult than 2021. Was it expected that Nigeria on the African continent attracted this large forms of venture capital?
No, pretty much you'll see that there's been this intentional drive to push technology into bringing efficiency into the system. So venture capitalists all looked at it and they saw that tech hubs were coming up in Nigeria and they were all springing up with speed. So that opportunity made a lot of them put in a lot of monies into the tech hub. So that is a sector where that attracted those huge funds. Over $700 million came into that sector. And whether you like it or not, the COVID also created that opportunity for them to see the reason why they should put in monies where what technology does is to reduce the human interference, human interface, which is let's say for education, tech ed, or education technology, what it does is that it creates opportunities for you to be able to learn with tools and kits that you don't have to have the teacher with you, but the teacher can be elsewhere, and then you as a student being elsewhere. So that whole thing created that opportunity, and then investors began to see that with this large market in Nigeria, with this large opportunity in Nigeria, this is the best place to put money in. So that's why they attracted much more than Egypt and then South Africa, as the case may be.
Okay, so we have some people sit in some country and they look into the space in another country and they see these potentials. How does this work?
Now, pretty much what happens most of the time is venture capital, these are private equity funds or private equity individuals, high net worth individuals who want to put in money into a going concern or a startup owing to the fact that they see promising, they see promises that these opportunities will become bigger and will be very profitable, and they do it to take stake in your business. So when they look at it, so what the first thing they do is they look at the opportunity, they look at the market, they look at how viable the market is, then they look at the people who are promoting these transactions, how transparent they are, what kind of capacity they have, do they have the technical know-how, what is required for them to run such business. Then again, they look at those who are competing with you in the same business. If they look at the ecosystem and then see that yes, there are competitors, but you have things that you can use to, outplay or win in the markets, or you have your own the target market, you have your own percentage that is good enough for them, and then they see there's an exit plan for them at the end of the day. Let's say if there's going to be like at the end of the day, you can go to the equities market to sell the shares, and then they exit and all of that. These are the things that they look at, and when they see those things, and then they see again there's efficiency in your system. They see also that you have let's say it's a patent, or there's a patent right or the intellectual property right, governing those areas where you have created opportunities for them to come in. So they're interested. They want to come and put their money in, and then that's how it works.
Okay, so I've had to speak with a lot of young persons, especially during the lockdown, and they're like, oh, business is down, I don't have anywhere to go to, I have to wait on CBN, I have to wait for the federal government. But yet in the midst of all this, some other people are getting these funds from overseas, from the capitalists, even here in Nigeria, staking out their funds into these businesses. So what are the fundamentals that a lot of people do not know about?
Okay, so the key thing here is everybody, see, most of the time we need to be able to divorce or take away passion from good ideas. When you have a passion for a thing, does not mean that particular transaction is going to be profitable. Now you have to see things from an investor's prism. Now the key fundamental here is your ability to sell what you have. 2, what is that thing that is trending? What is that thing that an investor is interested in? Then the third thing that we must look at here is our ability to create what I call the ability to do bootstrapping, the bootstrapping. Now, this is where a lot of people misunderstand the role of an angel investor, a venture capitalist, and also a bank. Now, before you come to a bank, banks finance projects, they finance going concerns. Then a VC or venture capitalist, they finance ideas. So these are the two different things. So everybody's telling you, oh no, until you become bankable. That's why I mentioned bootstrapping. Now somebody has to provide the funds that you need to do your business plan. Somebody has to provide the funds that you need to let's say you want to set up a factory. You have to have acquired the land. You have to be able to get someone who will have the collateral or the backbone or the shoulder to carry you as a collateral equity partner in your business. So these are the things you must, if the project requires an EIA. So the key thing is you have to become bankable. And for you to become bankable, this is when you need a venture capitalist, this is when you need an angel investor, this is when you need those kind of equities to come into your business, people that can take stake in your business. So your ability to open up your mind and say, okay, I have to have this person as part of my business is very key. So you can't own 100% of nothing. And, so you can own a 10% of a big thing or own 100% of nothing. So holding on to your idea and saying, okay, it has to be mine alone. So first things first, you have to be able to share these ideas with people, close friends, people who can believe in your idea. Because if people around you can't believe in your idea, why do you expect a bank to believe in your idea, someone that does not know you? So the key thing is, being able to sell what you have, being able to develop what you have to a level where somebody will be able to want to do something or put in his or her hard-earned money into what you're doing. And then another key thing that we must always have at the back of our mind when we're discussing venture capital is that they also come with expertise. They come with their own expertise. So the venture capitalists always hire or have within them people who have expertise in different sectors. So if you want to go into agriculture, they must have someone who has that basic knowledge in agriculture to know, yes, yes, I put in this here, and this is my exit plan. I will be able to recover this amount of money. And then the return on investment is very key. They must see, investors think in numbers. They must see that their return on investment is what the risk that they are going to take, because they take the higher risk than the banks.
Okay, talking about the risk, and now, how far can VCs take startups typically in our climate?
Yes, in our climate, there's still in our climate, there's still a lot that has to happen, because it's a cultural thing. This is why I always tell people, see, monies work. You put monies to work. Now, I think it was Oxfam or so that came up with a report in 2019 about Nigeria that we had over a $1 trillion debt capital. Now, in real estate and all of that, that's why I actually appreciate the fight against corruption. Now, the fight against corruption is actually a fight that helps productivity in an economy that people don't know. Now, what that does, because when people steal funds from the system or illegally, what they do is they try to hide those funds in properties, things that you can't see. Because if it's a going concern, there'll be eyes on them. So if you fight corruption, if the government intensifies effort in fighting corruption, it will loosen up those funds that those people have, that have stolen, or you get them back from them and then reinvest them into where monies begin to work for us, for each and every one of us, until the funds in circulation is directly proportional to the industries or to the productivity within that system. You will not see growth. So that is why I think it's a good thing that government is fighting head on this corruption thing, and then they are fighting it with getting out this funds from some of these people who have stolen a lot of funds, and they are hiding it into things that are not productive. So another thing government needs to do real quick is to make sure that we create a vehicle where some of these funds are they put them back into the productive sector. Okay, instead of just throwing it back into the budget. So there has to be a special fund or special vehicle created where these funds can be used to re-engineer or get the economy to begin to grow, and then begin to become a bit more robust. So the facts are all very clear. We have to get monies to work. We can't leave monies in the, we can't leave monies just sitting in the banks. So we need to actually, government needs to also strategically create a window of twisting. I use the word a window of twisting, where idle funds are made to contribute to venture capital system. Because if you're talking about venture capital, countries like United States, you have over 1,000 venture capital companies. So if the guy Mike Zuckerberg was if he was a Nigerian, probably he wouldn't have been able to start up, because in the US, there is this intellectual property rights. The laws are clear. Yeah. So if I come into a venture capital company today and sell my idea, before you walk in, there's a non-circumvention agreement you're going to sign at the reception before you even sit down to pitch your, what project that brought you there. So, if you do that, if the person is not giving you what you want, you move to the next company, because there are over 1,000 of them hustling to have you. Now, in India, you have over 400 or so. But in Nigeria, we have less than 50 companies doing this kind of thing. So that's why these are things we need to strategically look at, how to create them, make them work, because it's actually a panacea to create more, generate employment as far as any economy is concerned.
Okay, so before I let you off, just briefly, now we have most startups just starting and dying off, a good number of them in Nigeria. But you've rightly pointed out some of the issues around this thing. So I would want to ask you, before I let you off, how can a one-man business, do you see a one-man business succeeding, or it's better to bring in people to that business?
It's relative, really, Leah, because sometimes if your idea is good enough, you can actually, you can do well. But it's only, they say two heads are better than one, So most of the time I always advise people, or clients that come to me on advice, I always tell them it's better to get more people, because when you have more people, they bring out ideas, you can scrutinize things better, it makes it a bit more transparent. And again, if you are looking at, it depends on your long-term projections. If you're looking at, going global, if you're looking at becoming big, you need to have more people coming to your business. You need to have an open mind. If you have an open mind, those people that are coming into your transaction, they're also going to come in with their expertise. They're going to come in with their own ideas. They're also going to help you become a bit more accountable, because most of the time people, sole proprietorship does not give you that accountability to yourself. But when you have other people that you have to be accountable to, it makes it a little more easier for people to want to come into your business, to encourage mergers and acquisitions.
Can a one-man business attract a JC?
Yeah, if a one-man business can, but it's very rare. That would be extremely rare, because it depends on the company that is coming in. Because if, for example, if I'm to advise a VC generally to come into a transaction, there are basic parameters. They need to see those who are behind the business. If it's just one person, they now look at, do you have enough capacity to run the entire process? Because the technology, the skill that is required to run that particular enterprise, you must have. So it's very rare for you to find someone who has the architectural skill, you have the financial engineering skill, you have the marketing skill, so it's quite difficult for you to have all that in one person. Okay. So it's always good to have more people who have those required, skills that you need to run that transaction.
Okay, I must sincerely thank you, Ogbonna Okuku, for always having time to share your thoughts with us.
All right, thanks for having me, Leah.
Thank you. Now moving on, Ganiat Jimo is a food processor, precisely Gari. Gari Jebo, a lot of Nigerians love to drink for its distinct taste. Now, the pandemic had significant impact on their factory. She tells of how the central bank came through and kept her in business.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
I'm into food processing and packaging. I'm the CEO of G Foods Ijebu Gari. We produce the popularly known Ijebu Gari and then Ofada rice. We're a beneficiary of the TCF loan. We received 1.6 million naira, and I got to know about the TCF loan through social media. A friend of mine sent me a link. We received the loan June 2020. Due to the fact that there was lockdown, our farmers were not able to go to the farms the way they should, and we also were not able to go there the way we should be able to assess the place. We usually frequent the farm, see how we can get cassava and all, but at that time we could not go anywhere. So for this fact alone, each time our farmers are able to go to the farm to get their produce, it's actually difficult for them. So they spend more getting the cassava. At the end of the day, the raw materials get to us really, really expensive. Our capital wasn't enough to do business since the cost of purchasing raw materials increased with like 200%. So when we accessed the loan, at least we were able to add it to the capital to help us increase production. We added to production and we were able to employ like a staff or two. And I really want to say a big thank you to the presidency, the CBN governor, and then every other person that was part of the team that made this money get to us.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Now, oil prices rose in early trade Thursday, heading for monthly and quarterly gains after U.S. crude stockpiles fell for a sixth straight week, and an OPEC report foresaw an undersupplied market this year. The Brent crude ended Wednesday's session, the last for the month of June, up 37 cents or 0.5% at $75.13 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude settled up 49 cents or 0.7% at $73.47 a barrel. Both benchmarks are just below highs last reached in 2018 and are set for record their seventh monthly gain in the past 8 months. Now the stock market rose on Wednesday for the second consecutive day as Nestle Nigeria PLC and 19 others gained at the end of trading on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Limited. The all-share index climbed 0.17% to close 37,907.28 basis points on equity capitalization at 19.8 trillion naira. 213.7 shares valued at 3.2 billion naira were traded in 3,522 deals. Wema Bank, Owando and Mutual Benefit Assurance were the most traded shares with a combined volume of 49 million shares valued at 64.9 million naira. And stocks on the global market made a meandering start to the second half of 2021 on Thursday, dipping in Asia on worries about new coronavirus infections and fresh lockdowns. Benny Adams has the global market outlook.
Global investors will have an eye on the latest weekly jobless claims data out of the U.S. today, with economists polled by Dow Jones expecting initial unemployment claims to have totaled 390,000 last week. This comes ahead of Friday's closely watched jobs report from the Labor Department. U.S. stock futures were steady in overnight trading on Wednesday as investors gear up for the second half of 2021. Dow futures rose about 50 points, S&P 500 futures gained 0.15% and Nasdaq 100 futures rose 0.05%. European markets advanced on Thursday, kicking off the second half of 2021 on a positive note as investors anticipate the continent's economic recovery. While in Asia Pacific, stocks slipped in Thursday's trade as investors reacted to the release of Chinese economic data. Mainland Chinese stocks were lower as the Shanghai Composite declined 0.31%. Nikkei in Japan shared 0.29%, and the Hang Seng Index also fell 0.57%. African markets are yet to post figures as at the time of this report.
Thank you, Benny. And with that, we end this edition of Business Express. Remember to keep in touch with us by sending in your comments, observations, and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on the YouTube channel of the NTA. Join us again Friday at 3 p.m. for another episode. I'm Leah Katun. Bye-bye today.